Welcome to another episode of Blend of Views Unfiltered, where we talk life, love, and business. This is DeAndre. I'm not introducing you anymore. You've been on here too many times.
It's Fifi.
So you just gonna roll with that?
Yes, I go by Fifi these days because phenomenal.
Okay.
I won't release any things that may not be released to the public yet about.
It's public.
Well, that's awkward. I just learned today about phenom.
Okay.
So we're supporting that. Lady Fifi here.
Lady Fifi.
You like it, don't you?
It's straight, I guess. I mean,
Also known as Caylin.
Caylin. Welcome back to the show. This is Caylin. Caylin has been on group episodes before, as you may know if you follow the show. But we have a one-on-one with her today.
I was bamboozled.
She wasn't. She signed up for this. She was made for the limelight. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna dig into your
Please
life.
don't say personal. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna get personal. We're gonna get whatever. Here's where we'll start off at, though.
Mm-hmm.
How many squirts does it take
Mm-hmm.
in order to get you to smell how you want to smell from those doggone body spray bottles? Why does it take y'all so many squirts? How many does it take you personally?
I'm an oiler. I'm a roll on.
Oh, so you don't even do the squirts?
If somebody buys me a squirt, I feel like squirts like body sprays, those are for more like fresheners, like my car might, spit spritz, or I just, da 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 da. But it's not like I get out the shower, I'm like, let's spray. It's roll on with some baby oil.
With baby oil?
Mm-hmm.
So baby oil plus
So
oil-based perfume.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And roll them on. My older sister taught me that. And so
Your what?
My older sister taught me that. So like when I was younger, when she would do like, oils and things, she would like, as you're putting on your lotion, you're not having to spray down your whole body because you already done sprayed it a whole bunch with the oil. So just a hint of it. And it's tend to last a whole lot longer.
Oils last a long time, and they get into your clothes a lot too.
And they kind of mix with your pheromones a whole lot better. Yes, it does. The baby oil kind of just helps it spread, gives it a little scent,
So the baby oil isn't for the shine.
No, the baby oil is for the moisture. I don't like being dark skinned and shiny.
I was going to say, baby oil on chocolate skin is, you be out here like Terry Crews on White Chicks when he was doing the dance and the...
Or sunburn. It's like we cook. It's like we cook. It's not okay.
It's only used for dancing. You can slide it on in your personal time. I don't know so much. Well, yeah, why not? This is unfiltered. I mean, you could put baby oil on when you're about to get it in.
I think yes, but that's very messy and very like...
But if you prepare for it, though.
So lay down like some... Because baby oil is a mess. Yes. Especially if you got like things that are with certain materials like suede and things. Yeah. Baby oil is not okay.
You got to prepare for it. You prepare for it. I don't know how it is with your, what do you call it? Your innards, but...
baby oil is not good for your innards, ladies.
Okay.
At all.
Yeast infection waiting to happen?
Waiting to happen.
Okay. Okay.
If you don't eat it, you probably shouldn't put it down there either.
If you don't eat it, you shouldn't put it down there. So who's eating KY?
You shouldn't put it down there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what it's made for, though.
That's what it's made for, but that doesn't mean it's good for it. Like most of the things in foods that we do ingest, like things that are natural that you could possibly eat. Now, mind you, might find everything appetizing, but say like Greek yogurt, things that you could possibly ingest that aren't going to hurt you.
Interesting. Now, just in case you guys are wondering if her voice really sounds like this,
it does.
It does not. Okay, she has been singing karaoke for the past 2 months. She's been on tour, and she has graced us with her presence after being on tour from singing karaoke.
I'm dead.
We got to get you on like a review or something like that. We got to get a camera crew to follow you around and see what the voice is hitting for.
That probably the least. Karaoke probably be the least of the hits. You probably be like, what else is she doing?
Hey, just saying.
Yeah, karaoke would be the boring part. Everything else would be like, yep, that's interesting. Oh, you have a rug burn from a slide. That's the part that would get everybody.
Are you going to tell everybody why you had a rug burn from the slide? You should. Please tell the public why you have or had a rug burn from a slide.
I think this show was a setup.
It wasn't. Because
you can't say no. Like when somebody explains it, like, I think you should tell the public why. Boom, boom, boom. You can't be like, no, that never happens. So listen, The steps in my house are very steep. One drunken night or just a mishap, you're going to lose all of your front teeth. So I just feel like fireman's pole or slide, but my grandmother can't really do a fireman's pole. And if I have snacks in my hand, I can't do a fireman's pole either. So the slide was a better option. My contractor is putting the slide in, and it looks very inviting, so I wanted to go down the slide, and he told me not to because it wasn't ready. And I did.
Did it anyways.
And my foot got caught in the netting, and I slid by my shoulders. Down the slide. But guess who has all their front teeth? Would you rather?
For now.
Would you rather not have any front teeth or a slide burn?
I'll do the slide burn all day. I mean, for sure. I'll just be more careful going down the slide that's built into my house.
I am going to be more careful. I'm going to get a bean bag or something at the bottom.
It's very creative.
I am.
I give you that.
Thank you. I made it up myself.
I give you that. So,
would you?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Would you rather a tongue burn, a stubbed finger, a paper cut, or a stuffy nose? What is the worst out of those?
Sheesh.
It's like death.
Stubbed finger, paper cut, tongue burn. What was the other one? Stuffy nose.
Stuffy nose. Like the kind where you can't really hear people outside of you.
Ooh.
Rate them 1 through 4.
4 being the worst. Stuffy nose.
Really?
For me, yes.
I have a burnt tongue?
Yes.
Oh my.
Because the burnt tongue is temporary. And that'll go away a lot faster than that stuffy nose. So I'm saying, oh yeah, that was good right there. I like that.
Is it because we're dark skinned you couldn't see us?
Let's go stuffy nose. Then we will go stubbed finger, paper cut, and then the burnt tongue.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. I feel definitely burnt tongue is the worst. Then stubbed finger. Then stuffy nose. Then paper cut. Because paper cut, you only really notice it when you have something on your hands like sanitizer. Like you don't really feel it.
Correct.
A stubbed finger, you still got 9 others for the most part.
But you still feel that finger though.
You still feel it, but there's things around it.
Yeah, but you still feel that though. And depending on how bad it is.
But in our ratings right now, compared to like when you have a burned tongue, you can't taste. It's still irritated to the and you can't not use your tongue if you're gonna have to eat something. You cannot use that right hand if you stub that right finger.
That's true.
You can't not eat, not drink.
I don't know. That stuffy nose is.
Well, I've had allergies all my life, so I'm kind of cool with it.
The stuffy nose for me, I can't taste anyways. So
double whammy. Mine is I just stuffed up. That's it.
Yeah. See.
So definitely.
So that's why I was so confused around COVID when people were like, "Oh my God, I lost my sense of taste and smell."
Never
I was
had
like, "Isn't that normal?"
Poor thing.
My whole life, anytime I had a cold, I lost my sense of taste and smell. So
I think God made a mistake in your connections.
Sure, but I was confused. I was just like, "Why everybody tripping?
This is normal.
It's kind of crazy. This is kind of normal, right? Don't everybody do this?" And they're like, "Nah."
I've had COVID twice, and I thank God I never lost my taste.
No.
Or smell or anything. It wasn't bad at all.
I'm used to it, I guess. I don't know. So let's tell the people a little bit about yourself. Born and raised.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay. How old are you?
30.
30 years young. Born and raised, Youngstown, Ohio. What do you do for a living?
I sit outside and watch the grass grow. I do.
AKA?
I'm retired military.
Retired military.
I really didn't get that. I'm like, AKA another option. I don't know. No, I sit outside and I watch the grass grow. God has been so good. I was medically retired, so I didn't do my 20 years. So I'm not getting that pension of a 20-year vet. But as far as fully retired, blessed in other ways. And just to be able to be 30 years old and by mistake or plan, whatever you want to call it, realizing that work shouldn't be our only focus.
Yeah.
And even though money is a great thing to have, there's so much more wealth in other things. So right now, I just purchased the home back here, and I haven't really told anybody that I moved back here yet, so we might edit that part out. But just taking the time to figure out what things are kind of more important, prioritizing, and then probably getting back out into the work field once I kind of figure out what I want to do when I grow up.
So where do you place value-wise, right? Because you said that, money isn't everything, which it's not. I agree with you. But as far as you're concerned, what do you value most, and why do you value it? If money is not, because a lot of people say, well, without, you need money to do X, Y, and Z. And like, obviously at the age of 30 years old, you have found yourself at a certain point. And so like, where do you what's valued over money for you?
Mental health and your spirituality. You can be broke, but if your mind isn't strong, it's going to really break you.
Yeah.
If you have a situation, because money is still, it does a lot. Everybody knows that. But I think mental health and happiness, spirituality, if you can't ground yourself in that, money still don't even matter. You could have all the money in the world. We all know that, we all know that. But to me, my mental health is really, really important because I can, like even right now, I'm retired, but who doesn't want more money? Like putting a house together, all those things. But mentally, I know I probably shouldn't and I don't want to. So mentally, I tell myself, it's just fine. Everything's going to be okay. And then when you're ready to go make more money, you can do that versus having to feel like, no, I need to get this. And so I think mental health is really, really, really valuable to me, at least.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I like that. So at what end is your start? Here's what I mean by that.
I just thought of a butthole. Sorry. You start eating, you pooping out later. And you never entered through your exit. That didn't sound like that though.
No.
Oh,
No.
It's the public health in me. Everything relates to the human body. Sorry.
All right. So here's what I mean by it. What had to end? What in your life had to end in order for you to start where you are now? Especially with this kind of thinking, being retired at this young age, what had to end to get you to start where you are now?
I think I have two answers for that. Physically, my career. Mentally, unhappy, but not even necessarily unhappy. In the military, as people know, you're always told to kind of keep things like under wraps. Like you don't go to mental health, you don't go to the doctor, you kind of just go with the flow. They're there, but you don't really utilize them.
Right.
And so having to be somewhere where I was like, being public health during COVID was exhausting. And I'm like, I'm not mentally okay. But outside of that, when you have people up under you, whether it be kids, whether it be in my case, my troops, the ones that are following whatever I'm doing, if I come to work and I can't lead them, then that's a standstill in what I'm trying to produce. So at that point, I want to say close to like the end of 2020, I moved to Florida. I was stationed at Tyndall. And I found myself being just like, I would try to go to work and put on gospel in the morning or try to listen to, Denzel Washington, try to get myself prepared. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm doing all these things because my mental health isn't okay. So I'm trying to hurry up and get to work, prepare myself for them versus going and saying, you know what, y'all, let's all have a mental health break. Let's all go figure it out. So I think just my happiness and that kind of, that had to end so I could kind of start living for myself. But then within that, losing my career, I didn't know I was getting retired. I didn't know that I had an injury that bad that was like, oh, you can't deploy. During COVID, I found this out. During COVID, we weren't doing a lot of physical activity and going out and, being around each other. So what I thought was the norm, my doctor's like, oh, no, you're not cleared to do that. And so in the matter of maybe 3 months, what I've been doing for my whole adult life, when I'm used to being told, go here, do this on this time, on this day, here's your check, this is how you make your life. Oh, that's over now. Go figure it out. And that was it. So I think I had to just figure it out.
Yeah. So was that like so this was in the midst of you figuring out your mental health thing.
Right. When I say my therapist, she knows my therapist is to the point now where we can say, I love you, because it went from therapy to being a part of a family. We had to actually end therapy to go ahead and grow into something else. Yeah. Because she changed my life. Like absolutely amazing. But yeah, during mental health, one of our sessions is like, so yeah, I'm getting kicked out the military, and she's like, yeah, that's awkward because I'm your therapist in the military. But God was so good that the position that she held, and only her in the whole clinic, was that she was able to continue my services until the day that I left.
That's what's up.
Those are the moments that you're like, he still got you. Like, you're good to go, but he still got you. So yeah.
Sheesh. So y'all still connected?
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm a total advocate for mental health and therapy.
Okay. You ever went crazy on somebody?
No, and if I did, I would never tell that to you or the public.
Why?
Why would I tell you? Or why would I go crazy?
Why wouldn't you?
Because sometimes when you're talking to somebody, whether it be you, somebody listening on the other side, you need more understanding, because the human in us has no choice but to judge sometimes. Like, I was working the other day just helping out, and some guy was like, have you ever killed somebody? And it's like, even though, say you might say yes or no, that answer still follows behind some emotions with that. Whether that guy is like, oh God, I want to leave her. So I don't usually answer those kind of questions just willy-nilly without having more background or more private or something like that. But no, I've never went crazy on anybody, I don't think. I have a very controlled temper. I'm very slow to anger.
Yeah. All right, so you being a... you being a retired...
He's dead now. I'm just kidding. I'm just serious. Sorry.
Single? Single young lady.
I am single.
For all of you, I'm always trying to hook somebody up on the podcast.
I know.
So for those of you who, look at the chocolate dropper, like, maybe, just...
Please do not just look at the chocolate drop. Maybe just listen to the conversation that we're having.
Yes.
I don't want nobody to approach me and it's just like, you're a chocolate drop, but you're dumb. So that whole, did you go crazy? It could happen.
It could.
But yeah, no, I don't.
It could. Listen, so dating life, easy? Has it been easy? Has it been hard?
No, it hasn't been easy. But I also think that ease is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yep.
So I don't think it's been hard either, but certain things make it more difficult. Being military, being, say, Black in the South, certain things just contribute to that ease. But it hasn't been like, oh, I don't know. I hate people say that. Dating is just so hard these days. But when it's really hard, are you evaluating all the things that make it hard? So if somebody comes in here and they're like, dating is so hard, and you say, well, what have you done to date? Well, I go to the bar every night. I haven't found a husband. Is it really that hard? Or and that's like putting on this shoe is really, really hard, but it's 2 sizes too small.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's hard. I just think that it's a timing thing, and my timing hasn't come, especially now that I started what I had to end those kind of things.
Right.
Now that I'm understanding my mental health, I would never date. Oh my God. So I think it's more than just hard or easy. It's just trying to figure out what are those things that you consider hard or easy. Just like you, if you go to the gym, when you first start, you're not conditioned, so it might feel hard. But a year later, you're like, I do that every day now. So it's not really hard or easy. It's just what you're used to and what you want to become natural in your life. So
let's say scenario. You're on a first date. Guy shows up and he has his kid with him.
Why would you ask something like that? You know, that's about the little people.
On the first date. What's your next move?
Hey, little person. Why are you here? And then I'm going to ask him why he didn't discuss that with me. And I'm a very understanding person. So the biggest issue would be just the communication side of it. On your way here, something happens. Hey, I still want to have our date, but this is the situation right now.
So you don't want it sprung on you. At least give me a heads up.
But even then, I can adapt very well to most things. I may not see you ever again, but we're going to still have fun.
So you go have fun with this individual. Conversation's great, everything, and you still go just bounce?
I'm not too fond on the little people species. So depending on how me and that have fun can maybe dictate the rest of the situation. But I don't know. Sometimes when I hear scenarios, it's hard to picture, the unrealistic things. That rarely happens that somebody would pop up is with, technology these days on a date and be like, I brought my child. Usually they would say something to you. So to me, that's never, ever occurred. And I don't think it will occur, especially because usually before somebody dates me, they know how I feel about children.
Yeah.
So that would be his own fault if he brought a child
How
to
do
a
you
date.
feel about children? Let the people, you've been put it out there about 3 times in the last 30 seconds. Tell the people how you feel about little people.
They're not very appetizing. Okay, let's say this because I feel like there's some men out there that's like, she's so cute, but she don't like kids. Sometimes I don't like children. I just don't really have the desire to share my already boggled minds with someone who would really, really need me, if that makes sense. So I don't hate children. I just prefer not to be around them because I don't really know what to do or have like certain things like, oh my God, that's a kid and they want to eat candy, talk about wet Cheerios. I don't find that like.
Did you just say wet Cheerios? Okay.
Like, I had a little person come to my house and my grandmother was like, oh my God, I could see that little person every day. And I'm like, why would you want to? But I feel bad because maybe God didn't give me that or something. Yeah. But I think being 100% honest, a big reason why I feel the way I feel about kids is I've taken care of somebody most of my life. So having disabled family members, having myself included, I couldn't imagine having to take care of something that needs me so much and not feel like I could give it to them the perfect way that I wanted to. Yeah. So it doesn't really feel appetizing because there's certain things like I really want to, I don't know, make $1 million because there's something that you put in, you take, I don't know. My mom's like, yeah, your smile was just so, I just loved it. I'm like, that smile was worth all the money, all the trips, and she's like, absolutely. I don't know. I've never experienced it, but I just don't have a desire to have children right now. Or have I ever? But you never know. God does amazing things, and maybe that'll change for me in life. But if it doesn't, I'm okay with never. Oh, there's food. Like, yeah. I'm just not really interested. Dating a guy with kids is, you ever had a decision to make, but you know that if you make it one way, you're going to have to put in a lot because you're a good person. Yeah. And so I do everything to the best of my ability. So some things that I've learned dating guys with children are sometimes when you put out so much and you're not reciprocated that, it drains what was that good. So maybe I've been in situations where I've dated guys with kids and it drained me so much that I'm pouring more into your children than you are. And maybe that made a little tainted for, you know what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot of different factors that go into that. I don't just hate children. I just am not very interested in them. Or do I like
or their wet Cheerios.
Or any like childlike activities besides sports. Like, I really don't want to hear you try to sing a song at 7. Like, it's just certain things that I'm just not interested in.
Even if it's similar to karaoke?
Absolutely. If you don't like karaoke, you probably shouldn't go. If you have a child, you can't make that decision. If I had a kid,
you could.
The best of my ability.
You could just tell them, like, yes, that's not it, big dog. Like,
I wouldn't want to do that to my little baby if I...
You got to be truthful. That's what kids are lacking these days.
You're right. I probably would tell my thing, like, no, you shouldn't.
Thing.
I mean...
Telling your thing.
But we don't know if it's a girl or a boy.
Well...
if it's a girl, it's absolutely not. It's going back in the womb till it becomes a boy. I don't know. I couldn't imagine.
If only that was an option.
I know. You have to give it away. I mean, no, that came out wrong too. Down the river, like, is it Moses? I want to change the subject. How do you feel about kids, Dre?
Everybody knows how I feel about it. I love them. I mean, I got 6 of them, so don't want any more though. So there's that. When was the last time? Let's see. How can I phrase this? When was the last time that you felt like you were giving your all, but it just wasn't good enough?
I don't know. Because usually when I feel like I'm giving my all, I feel like it's good enough.
Yeah. So no one has ever made you feel like it wasn't good enough?
Yeah. But again, that mental health side of it is where I remind myself that people treat me according to who they are. So if I'm giving my all and I know that, and you as a person, whether it be a boss or a guy friend or a relationship, family member, I kind of am pretty good at separating what I know is my all with versus what they feel like should be more or less. But if you want to have an answer to that question, the last time I felt like I was giving my all and it wasn't good enough is my mom and I have a really amazing relationship. But when it comes to men, it's very rocky, maybe you can say. And so there's been times that I know that I was giving as much as I could as a daughter and as a somebody who I'm watching you. And I feel like you're letting me know it's not good enough because we're still not getting along. I'm still not accepted. I'm still having to, I don't know. If your daughter came to you and said, Dad, he bothered me, what would you say?
He bothered me.
Your first question is going to be what?
How did he bother you?
You don't want to know who is he, first of all.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like,
Who is he?
Who is he?
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're trying to figure out what happened.
Right.
If you answered and said, well, what did you do to him? What does that mean?
Well, that means you're kind of placing the blame on her. I would be placing the blame on her versus...
So no matter how that question or how that goes around, imagine if your daughter gave it her all first and waited to come tell you that I've really tried, but something at school, whatever's going on, I'm still being bothered. So she probably feels like I gave it my all. But Dad's not thinking so. But as my protector, you're not giving me that. So even though I know I gave my all, moments like that, I'm like, it's probably not good enough to be accepted by you for you to go protect me the way you should. I'm sorry if you hear this later, Mom. I love you. But yeah, that's probably the last time. Most likely, honestly, one of the only times that I felt like that my all wasn't good enough is trying to prove myself to things I didn't have to. But that's where mental health comes in, and you're like, instead of trying to continue to prove, just separate and make those healthy boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty wise beyond your years, right? Most 30-year-olds don't sound like you at all.
I really appreciate that.
What has been some things that you have gone through that you feel comfortable?
If you want me to cry, just say that. I'm not going to cry.
Sharing. That you feel comfortable sharing. But give us some, because here's what we like to do, right? We like to have real talk, obviously.
Right.
But also things that we go through. We always hear the cliche, oh, what you go through ain't really for you, whatever. But in a lot of instances, that's very true. Because what you, obviously at 30 years old, were strong enough to get through, no matter how damaging it could have been or traumatic, like you're still here in one piece of sound mind of some sort.
Can't sit a long time, but
can't sit a long time and you don't like wet Cheerios, but you're still here. So it's something that you may have been through that could help somebody else. So what are some things that you went through that really shaped and molded really who you are now? Because that's what all these things do. They shape and mold us into who we are now, and we are able to identify, overcome, and share, and not project onto other people, but share with other people, our story.
There's so much, because everything makes you, whether it's really, really little, like I burnt my finger on that stove and I'm not going to do it again. Or if it's really, really big, like losing family members, domestic violence, things like that. I'm comfortable sharing pretty much anything, but some things that have shaped and molded me were, again, the career that I chose. And like, just to go back to what you were saying, one of my airmen that I'm extremely close to, and airman is somebody who's up under you, like your troop, who you lead. And usually they're significantly younger than you, or your expertise or seniority, like that's how you choose the manager or whatever. But it wasn't until meeting her and seeing her struggles, mind you, this is a Caucasian girl, probably, even though she knows we're the same size, she may be like a little taller than me and stuff. But I said that to say, you might see somebody that you think looks like you, so you automatically kind of attract yourself to them. But here's this person that I would have never in a million years thought that my life would change theirs, because who would have thunk?
Yeah.
But going through certain things and watching that be poured into her, it almost made me think back like, man, when I was 7 and went through that, I didn't know at 30 I'd be telling some girl that, and she would say, I did that same thing. And I'm like, huh? So little things that really just happen sometimes you may not see it until 20, 30 years later. But like you said, it really, really shapes and molds. And that feeling is so good once you see.
Yeah.
Some things that shaped and mold me. Living in Youngstown, Ohio, you know, that shapes and molds everybody in whichever way you want it to be.
Yeah.
The way I was raised, being my spirituality, things that I've been through. I've lost a lot of close friends due to domestic violence or relationship issues. So that's molded me in that mental health that you were asking. Dating wise, dating isn't hard, but if I choose to date someone who's going to put their hands on me, that's going to make it hard.
Right.
So watching my friends go through things and then to a point where I can no longer call my friends, that shaped and molded how I choose to have my own mental health. That shaped and molded why I choose to be single than to be somewhere where I'm abused or don't feel like I'm enough or whatever the case may be. So one thing that I can say is every situation that's shaped or molded has been you can't be shaped or molded until you choose to be shaped or molded. Mm-hmm. So if I come to you and say your oil in your car is low, but you won't go look at it, how are you going to go get it fixed?
Right.
Unless you just go somebody and ask somebody else to do it. And even then you're not learning that your oil is low. You just go to the next place. Mm-hmm. So with shaped and being molded, one of the biggest things is allowing myself to be shaped and molded. Something might happen to me when I was 7 or 8 or 9 may not have shaped and molded me till I was 30 and been like, that's why I do that. Yeah. So I think just significantly mental health, therapy has shaped and molded me a whole lot because you have to get to know yourself before. And that can be really scary because when you get to know yourself, you know everything, and it's going to take you back to reminiscing about when you were 7 and you were that. So my advice would be just realizing that when you're shaped and molded, you are going to touch somebody else, even if it's the new you that you're touching. Mm-hmm. Does that answer? Because I feel like it was a vague question because there's so many things that you've been through as an adult. I didn't know what to be like. Well, one time I almost drowned, but that was my fault because I was drunk in a pool. I don't know what to say. I learned not to drink in a pool.
I mean, we could be I could go. It is kind of vague, but kind of specific, right? Mm-hmm. So, if we want to go a little deeper with it, like drowning, the drowning are what's something that you went through really traumatic. Mm-hmm. That looking on it on this side, you're like, I don't know how the heck I made it all on to this side. You don't know how you made it through. You don't know how you still sane. You don't know if you've ever been through anything like that.
Fortunately, I haven't been through anything that was so traumatic that I wondered how I made it out. Mm-hmm. But I've watched, or the sad part is something I didn't think were that serious, but kind of are. Even when it comes to let's say something that not everybody, but some people have experienced, drinking and driving. Drinking and driving to me can be so detrimental that you don't realize at the moment. Mm-hmm. So there's been times that I went somewhere and known that I probably shouldn't have drove and I made it home. And I know it sounds like that's not super traumatic. Yeah. But turn on the TV and a car that you saw is now in a ditch and people are dead. Why couldn't it have been you? So it sounds super small, well, you made it home, you're good. Mm-hmm. But little things like that it may not happen to me, but watching how serious it could have been has taught me just being more responsible. Traumatic situations, I've made some really dumb decisions when it comes to fighting, when it comes to protecting myself, where maybe not putting my hands on somebody, but I've learned that walking away is the safest thing. Because nowadays, you're not invincible. Yeah. I'm handling my own, but somebody come and bust me in the head with a brick. Was it really that serious? Yeah. If I'm putting my hands on my mama's husband or something like that, is that really the safest option? So I think traumatically, I've been in altercations and things that didn't need to be. Yeah. So I've learned that that's not really worth your well-being, your life. Gratefully enough, I've never been in traumatic, car accidents or thrown off a bridge. Those things are really, that's really traumatic. It is. That one guy, he lived. That Golden State Bridge survivor, he wasn't thrown. He tried to commit suicide. Yeah. And something like that, I'm like, wow. But I don't have any experiences like that. Thank God. I used to think to myself, it was an old Christian rapper, I don't remember his name, but he used to say, I I don't want to have like a vivid story or some crazy testimony. And I used to, you know what I'm talking about? It was some song like that. And I used to be like, well, I want to have a crazy testimony. You know, when somebody get up in church and they're like, and I had cancer 15 times. And I'm just like.
Yeah, I don't want none of that action.
But in my head, I wanted to sound like that. And I had to realize, like, one, you don't want to have that, be close to death. But there's other things that you can learn very small without the traumatic behind it that still shape and mold.
So you said something about making decisions, right? Making right, wrong decisions. What happens when life shows you the receipts of your decisions? How do you adjust? How do you view those things and keep it pushing?
One, just reminding myself that I'm human. Like, I'm not the kind of person that's going to go beat myself up about something that I know we all have been capable of doing or have done. So realizing that I'm human, that keeps me pushing. Like, I'm still here. I survived. Pray about it and keep pushing. Learn from it, hopefully. Yeah. That's the hardest part sometimes, is going through stuff and not learning from it, because you're here again.
Does it usually take you a long time to adjust, catch on, learn? It
takes me a long time when it's my desire, if that makes sense.
It does.
If it's something like, babysitting is not fun, don't do it again. Okay, on my lesson, won't do it again. But it's something that I desire and I enjoy doing. Say, for instance, people, what I've noticed in the career field, so after the military, I started promoting alcohol for a very high-end company. And what I learned was going to these different places. It might be a crowd of, young adults, or I might go to somewhere where it might be a crowd of very well-off people that are in their late 50s, 60s. But what I watched and learned was the desire to want to be accepted, the desire to want to fit in, the desire to want to have friends literally takes over so many real life desires. And so if I have a desire to, I don't know, say women in dating, if I have a desire to meet some man, so I'm going to the bar every night by myself, just kind of looking around, people watching, that desire sometimes is going to overtake what I might think and know to be unhealthy. Yeah. But a lot of times we don't think that way. We like to eat candy. We know it's not good for our teeth, but our desire is that sweet tooth. So I think for myself, if it's a desire that I have, sometimes it can be a lot harder to change those things. Let's not ask me any of my desires.
Well, that's where I was going. So,
I know. I know. I see. I know.
So share with us, what are some of your desires? Give us top 5.
Oh, I don't even think I have 5 desires.
How many? 3?
Can you give me an example? Because you said desire, so what went to my head is what I want. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't necessarily promote bad. Like, if I want to go make a certain amount of money.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to promote bad if it's a desire, in my opinion.
And not having like healthy boundaries with that desire?
Yeah, that could be a desire too.
Work. My desire to do everything to my best of my ability. My desire to impress and prove myself in work environments. I was just talking to somebody about it, because I told myself when I got here, I'm not working because I want to unpack my house. I want to mentally be just good. But what have I done the last 3 weeks? Work till I drops, not till somebody else drops. Yeah. But I'm working, and that's a desire that I have, which is to be great at things or to make money that I'm not creating healthy boundaries with. So,
okay.
I think something that, I think we talked about this before on here with women. One of my friends had a conversation, because it's a guy, and it was him and my mom actually. And he said, what makes a female a whore? And I said, being public health and dealing with STDs, all kinds of things for a living, sex doesn't make you a whore. Your mentality about sex makes you a whore, in my opinion. So to just add to that, so people kind of understand, I handle STDs for a living. So that means that somebody would come to my office and explain to me why they have an STD, who they supposedly got it from. If they don't know, now we're going to go through a whole list, and we're going to figure out together how to stop this chain of infection. And we're going to figure out what inside, well, my job wasn't to do that, but the Caylin and me, I'm going to figure out why you feel this way. And so a lot of times it was so many females who had the desire to be loved, wanted, appreciated, that led to what they thought that man desired. So I have women sit in my office, and I would never to this day judge, because going back to traumatic experiences, I had an experience with a female that I'm being medical, and I'm like, why do you keep getting an STD? And her posture was nonchalant. She didn't care. Later to find out, what I'm thinking is just careless behavior. She blew her brains out in an armory. I read her story, and she's been abused, and her boyfriend won't, be faithful. She's getting abused at home while still being military, while still trying to take care of her business, while still trying to be a strong Black woman. And at that moment, I said, I'll never judge another female for what I thought was careless. So going back to what I was saying, a desire that I think a lot of people have an issue with is the desire for the opposite sex. And when a female desires to be loved, sometimes she gets that love misconstrued. And so say we're out and we're having drinks, and, things happen, and this man now is making moves. A lot of times rape, a lot of times things that happen are women that know the person, and they don't want to start screaming bloody murder like they're in Central Park getting raped. So they get quiet. They shut down. They just allow it to happen. There's been guys that have told me during our interviews, well, she didn't say much. She didn't say no. What did she do? She sat there. He thinking that she's not interested, while meanwhile she's scared to death because she doesn't want to make you not like her anymore. She doesn't want to lose this man that she thinks is so attractive. So let me just let him. So say 3 females do that with 3 different guys. My option is not to say you're a whore. I might say you're looking for love in the wrong places. So that desire has now allowed you to let your body do things that you probably know aren't right, just like eating candy. If somebody said, eating Twizzlers every single night is not good for your teeth, that's the same thing. Like, to me, no one thing is greater than the other. Obviously, that can produce children and STDs and things like that. But to meet somebody where they are and explain to that young girl, you're not wrong for desiring this, but let's figure out how you can make this desire not kill you or hurt you.
Yeah.
So one of those things that I think we all have is the desire to want somebody else. So I've made dumb decisions when it comes to trying to please someone or make that person desire me in that same way. So I think that is definitely what is that you said, desire? That a desire to want to fit in. I think a lot of people keeping up with their Kardashians. Like right now, I feel like half of the world, if not more, all look alike. We got females that look exactly like the next female, the same baby hairs, the same wigs, the same eyelashes. There's no individuality. So that desire to want to set yourself apart while still, being appreciated, that can be detrimental. Yeah. And I said by myself, because sometimes what I see, I don't necessarily like, but I'll allow the desire to, okay, everybody's wearing leggings, let's all wear leggings. I don't know if that makes sense, because I don't want to go anything super crazy, but I think for a lot of women or men, the desire to want to be appreciated and desire back, you have to find yourself kind of meeting that
standard.
Yeah.
Do you get lost in that sometimes?
Not at all.
Okay, that's good.
No, that's that mental health.
Yeah.
That mental health. When I say the most important thing to me is mental health, you cannot go wrong.
Well, that's 2 things that you keep going: mental health, and then your passion for public health. What makes you so passionate about that?
I love people. Like, I love the human minds. I love how it works. But then throw sex in there or throw your health in there. It's like a double whammy. You got literally mental health plus what keeps you alive, which are those 2 things together. So I loved my job. I love the military side of it, where I had opportunity to hear from all different walks of life, different stories, different desires, different things that made them who they are and what they desire. But I love the human mind. I love people. People are rewarding. If somebody tells you, well, I don't know about you, because I feel like you're going to be like, no, I'd rather have the money. So for me, if you went and bought your daughter an outfit and she came to you and gave you $20 and you're like, well, what's this for? Well, you got me an outfit, so I'm just trying to reimburse you a little bit. Or she said, I feel so pretty when I wear this. Thank you for making me feel pretty when I go to school today. What's more important? What do you feel more as a human?
Making her feel pretty.
That's how I am. I can give you this medication. I could burn your wart off your penis for you, or I can talk to you and make you understand that you're still a person.
You say what now?
Burn a wart off a penis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you've done that.
I have. Not like burn with like a match, but like the freeze, like frozen them off.
Oh,
But to me,
it's a little disturbing.
Why is it disturbing?
I mean,
Why? Only in the U.S. I feel like is this taboo about sex. Why is burning a wart off a penis disturbing? Besides the fact that you have a penis,
just the thought of the feeling of having something done like that. Well, first the thought of having something like that on my man's dick, and then having someone have to like, as a whole, the feeling, what I would imagine has to be embarrassment.
yeah.
Like all of that coupled in there is just like.
So that literally answers my question. I love to make somebody feel not comfortable about not caring about themselves, but comfortable enough to know that I'm caring for you right now. So even though you might not be doing the proper precautions to prevent this from happening,
Right.
that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person.
Right.
Some things, if somebody's born with HIV, do we shun them?
No.
Of course, you ain't running around having sex, but you don't, oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
So I want you to feel comfortable about what sometimes you can't always decide.
Life happens.
Life happens.
Life happens, and it happens more dangerously to others than it does yourself.
But imagine how much better things like STDs, warts, all these things that are passed along sexually would be. The numbers would probably be a lot lower if it wasn't so scary to talk about, if it wasn't so uncomfortable. So I think if we made things not so, oh my God, and more so like, hey, genital warts is the same thing as a wart on your finger, and that's how you get it. And let's talk about it. Then you're going to want to come back to me when you have another one and say, I messed up, but this is how this happened. Let's figure it out. Let's fix it. So that next time, you ain't coming back to me. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but.
It should make sense. Basically, you're the person. It's almost, you're not God.
Absolutely not.
But how easy it is to, unfortunately, I have to say this, but to go to God when you're in trouble and and it's just second nature. So that's like you want to be that person where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna go to see Caylin.
Well, even as far as something that gives me chills to this day when I hear somebody say it, or when I say it, is if we, instead of going to God and telling God how big our problems were, we went to our problems and how big our God was, how different that would be. So if somebody sees me that way, I would appreciate that. Instead of coming to me after you've had sex with 10 different people, if I make you feel comfortable enough that you come to me before, now I got you 20 condoms and we just missed the whole part. We'll handle the whole 10 people later, but at least you know your problem is handled. We'll figure it out and then we'll keep moving forward with that versus I'm here now because I've been burning. Well, why? You know what I'm saying? The reverse.
But if you weren't available at the time when he want to go ahead and get it in, or she, I mean, then what? Because if you ain't available, then he just got to do what he got to do.
But I would provide you with those tools. If you came to me once, you already know where you can get condoms at for free. You can come to listen. You already know all those things. I agree with you.
I'm just saying, like that's.
But put that in perspective with God, like.
That's true. No, I listen. I'm right there with you. I totally agree with you. Just seeing the other side of it. But you're very passionate about this. Do you think that this is something that you would pursue in some shape, form, or fashion for the rest of your life?
Absolutely not.
Why?
It's draining. It's very draining. People always ask me that because public health makes okay money, health inspector, doing whatever. But I lose myself in it. That's the whole healthy boundaries. So I think something like a form of it, like would I go talk at a seminar about it? Yeah, but I don't want to pick back up a career doing that because I'm not putting myself first when I'm so worried about everybody else and their health.
Yeah. So this is something that you can become like a consultant with. Just make money from being a consultant. So you're getting this like the best of both. You're making money, putting a price on it, and you're speaking about something that you're very knowledgeable about and you actually care about it.
Thank you. I think it's a job fair and I appreciate that. I will look into that. I will. When I decide to work again, I will look into, I do desire to do things with the human mind and people.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. I don't want to be a psychologist, but I want to do something with people, the human minds, and just helping what I know people don't understand.
Being a people person and doing all that you do, knowing what you know, you obviously have to be at a certain level of like or love with yourself. When was the moment that you fell in love with Caylin?
Man, June 25th, 1993. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I've really liked myself for a long time. I think fell in love and not like in myself. Mental health. Like, I've always liked me. I've always thought I was okay looking. I've always thought that I was a passionate person, a people person, funny. You know, I've always liked myself. But once I realized who I was and still liked me,
Yeah.
well, I was like, oh, we can do this.
Yeah.
So I think just the mental health side of it, understand that one, things aren't always your fault. You can't change everything. And even though you might get to know yourself and not like certain things, you have the power to change it and you can still love yourself. So for me, I think falling in love was going to therapy, but I've always been in like enough to even go to therapy.
Yeah.
I've always been in like with me. Most people are in like with me too. Gift. I haven't really met me, but they just didn't like me. And usually it has nothing to do with me if they didn't.
It was all them.
Usually.
Okay.
When someone doesn't like me,
Yeah.
usually I'm not a mean person. I don't do anything to the point that somebody be like, I just do not like that girl. If we're asking honestly, do you feel like that about me?
No.
Like, do you think, not like I know you don't dislike me, but just knowing me for as long as you've known me, do you feel like you could see someone just, that is a really messed up person. I do not like her.
No, I couldn't see that.
Okay. Nah. Can you just tell the people? Can you just look at them?
No, I'm not going to tell them that.
Okay.
No, she's a very likable person. She is, even if you don't know her, very personable, very mild-mannered, very helpful.
Thank you. I just don't mean any harm.
Yeah, she's cool.
I think most people are likable too. Like, I don't think it's like people just don't like most people. It's just
life.
Life happens. We don't
life shows up on them in a different way.
But we don't go figure out why life looks like that on them.
That's true.
That's a big part of my passion. Is if I see somebody, I was at a bar the other day, well, probably like last month, and the bartender was being extremely rude. And most people would be like, girl, what's wrong with you? And I seen 3 girls in front of me like, hello, I want my drink, da-da-da. And I see on her face that she's frustrated. And so she came to me, what do you want? Now that Caylin in me is still human and is like, I probably should slap you. But the mental health in me grabbed her hand and I said, what's wrong and what can I do for you? Are you okay? At a bar, probably like 12 o'clock at night. And she burst into tears. So obviously it's awkward. So I don't even know this girl. Only been to the bar twice. I pull her aside and I said, what can I do? My dog just died. I didn't want to be here, but I have kids. I can't not come to work. This is my job. I said, have you eaten today? No. What do you want? This is 12 a.m. I go outside. I go to the food truck. I bring back some food. I said, now you can be okay. But what's going to happen is if you don't realize when you're not okay, people are going to eat you alive. I can't fix all these other girls in line.
Right.
I can only try to help you. So if we as a people can say, okay, you can't always fix or change or even understand, but just that little bit sometimes, that's where I come in. I know I will never, if somebody ever is like, that girl was just mean to me, did I ask you you're okay first? Now, if you say, well, I'm fine, we're not going to cuss you out because I tried. But it's just little things like that where if you choose to understand people before, then you don't, I'm not mad at her. I love my dog with all my heart. So if my dog died and I had to still go to work that day, I might be a little short too. But I also didn't ask you to come to work. That's your job. So let's figure out how we can, balance this out. I get you some food, you serve me my drink. We good to go.
Yeah.
My drinks were amazing that night and all free. But I had to say, just caring about others.
Yeah. That's dope.
Thanks.
How often do you try to beat the GPS time?
Every time.
Yeah?
Yeah. Even today, on the way here. I'm like, Dre said 5:30. It's 5:35. I need to hurry. So I did beat it because it was 5:35. And I got into the parking lot and I said at 5:36 I'm outside. So I did. I did beat it. And I feel accomplished for that. Even though I was still late, I feel accomplished.
Okay. What else do you rush for in life and try to beat the timing of it?
Most things. I'm controlling a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah. Most things. I try to beat God. I try to beat myself. And I usually fail. Well, I actually fail every time for the most part. But that's just who I am. Especially military. Things are so uniform. When they're not, it's really confusing and frustrating. So it's like, well, let me hurry up and try to figure it out before I mess up something. So yeah, most things.
You think that'll ever change?
I pray it does. Mental health, I guess.
Like, do you ever slow down at some things? Maybe not all, because you're always, like, but do you ever slow down and think, like, let me slow down a little bit and actually, like, ride this wave or go with the flow, and things pan out a lot easier, faster for you, better for you?
Do I make the decision? Usually not. It's usually God breaking me. And I'm just like, okay. That happens to me often. My career, I'm in my head, I'm about to do 20 years, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And he was like, and you won't. I had no choice but to stop and slow down and bask in, okay, you got me here. What's up? Usually when he slows me down, something traumatic happens or something that's out of my plans that I can't do anything about.
Yeah.
I think that we rush when we think we have control of something. So on the GPS, if I'm rushing, because I think I got control of this car, I'm good. Yeah. Until there's a car accident or you're in traffic and you're stuck there for hours.
Yes.
What could you really do? So get some work done, call some people, follow up. But yes, usually it's not me that does it. I'm not that mature yet. I'm getting there.
Got you. Okay. What's a title that people place on you that you don't necessarily agree with?
Know it all.
What would you replace that with?
Lots of things. One, just caring, intellectual, and curious. Like a know-it-all to someone, to me, is like when somebody is trying to prove you wrong with information or trying to prove certain things. And it's not that I am a know-it-all or anything. I just really enjoy learning. I really enjoy learning about people. And if I think something that I'm saying can help you, I can be very, not aggressive, but I really don't think you should do that. I really think you should do this. And that can come off as, so you think you're running me? No, I just think that you're going to probably hurt yourself when that happens like that. Especially in relationships. Because it's not about me knowing it all. It's just that I might have been here before. I might understand something about that. I might not want to just go through it at all. But I think people forget that when you're in relationships, it's still choices. You don't have to do anything. Yeah. So if I'm telling you I don't think that's a good idea, that's not even a no. I just don't want to do it. Or it's not going to be good for you. That's not going to know it all? No. But yeah, I get that title a lot. You think you know everything. No, I know I don't know everything. But I do know a lot. And I want to share that, so.
Have you learned how to control it?
Absolutely. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. One thing my therapist told me that I was like, you are my therapist. Why would you say that to me? I was having an altercation with somebody. And she was like, let them. Let them what? Let them win. Let them be right. Let them prove you wrong. Just let them, because at this moment, it's not about the right or the wrong. It's about this person doesn't have it in them to fight. And when I started doing that, I was like, one, you get more bees with honey. Even though you know you're right. You know you're right. And you want to argue that point. If that person is closed-hearted, closed-minded to it, let them. And if they come back to you, amazing. But if they don't, there's 10 million trillion people in the world and I can't fix them all. So I'm learning. Slow down. Let them. Yeah.
Do you feel as though that your team, what I mean by team is like your circle, your community, no matter if that's family, friends, whoever, pass or by or pass or through, or do you feel like your team that you have in your life is better with you on it?
See, I don't want to sound like conceited or know-it-all, but
just be honest. I mean,
absolutely. But to follow that, absolutely, it's better to be on it. But we're all very similar. Okay. My circle is a lot like me. So friendship is very serious to me. I think me and Sal talked about this before. If I find people that are like me, then we're all valuable. So if I have friends that are pouring, it's not just taking, then we're all valuable. So yes, I do feel like it's important that I'm on my team, but I feel the same way about them and they feel the same way about themselves. That makes sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. Do you feel like you're valuable? Never mind.
Why'd you say?
Sometimes when I'm talking to you, I forget that I do know you. And I'm like, oh, this person I'm doing a podcast with is so, and I actually like, Oh, well, do you knowing you? Absolutely, of course I do. I'm probably the MVP and the best of the team. Actually, I'm my own team, and they're just allowed to be a part. So never mind. I know you're valuable.
I am valuable. I am. I would say though, if I am the MVP, which I am, then all of us are MVPs. Though
I do not believe that you believe that.
I do.
You believe that everybody around you is the MVP
in some shape, form, or fashion.
Oh, that was nice.
Because how else did they make it in my circle?
Felt bad. You pitied them. They've grown. They had no one else. That's why.
I was actually talking about this the other day. I said, you know what? I'm one who I know that I'm not for everyone. Number one, I don't tolerate a lot. And then also, I am my empathy had to grow because I didn't have any before earlier on in life, which I do have now, which life humbled me to get to that point. But I'm even with empathy though, I'm not one to feel bad for you for a long period of time.
So empathy or sympathy?
Well, both, but I lacked empathy though. I lacked that. Like I could have a little bit of sympathy for you, but empathy was just,
sounds like you.
It was non-existent, but it is now, but still it's one of those things where.
I'm sorry, I just imagine you being like, you are ugly and that's okay. That's all right. You may find it in life. I can just imagine back in yes, but now it's like you might be like, well, let's talk about why you're ugly. What can make you feel better about being this way?
How can we fix this?
I'm proud of you.
This is what we can do.
And I'm going to be here for you.
I'm going to be here for you.
Before I feel like you just be like, sucks to suck.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But now it's just like, all right, but okay, so what, like you said, let's go to the table. What can we do? Allow them to feel it, right? Because we're all human. So yes. you gotta feel it. But
feelings are never wrong.
Sitting in it and living there is something I can't do.
Absolutely not.
And I can't be with you along on that ride if you're deciding to stay there. And nor can I allow like my morals, character, and like that whole thing. Like I can't allow you to just go to a certain place where I wouldn't go. So it's just, so I know, right? Because if you come to me and you complaining about something, I mean, I'll call you out. But if the shoe's on the other foot, I expect you, I want you to call me out because I'm not perfect. And maybe I'm misreading a situation or I approach something a different way. And if I am talking to you about it and you hear it, it's like, bro, call me out, or sis, like call me out. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that to you too.
Right. Not
everybody can handle that because we live in the yes man world, and everybody wants to be their ego stroked, and everybody wants to be validated that their feelings and their thought process is all 100% valid in its law, and that's just not the case.
Well, one thing that I've learned in life, and you may or may not agree with, but it kind of goes with empathy. Truth without compassion is brutality.
I agree.
No way, shape, or form.
I agree.
I hate when people say, well, I'm just being real. Just being real does not mean that you disregard people's feelings and their thought process. Because like you just said, want their ego stroked. Thought process is all the same, blah, 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 blah. That's that whole let them. If you want my advice, you ask me. If you want to vent, let me know you can vent. You can complain, you can vent. I may not give you a whole, hour and a half of me, but you can definitely vent. But I also just am realizing in life with the whole let them thing, you can be 100% right. But without compassion, people will not receive it.
Yeah.
So there's no point. And so many people sit there and say, well, I know I'm right. You might be, but they're shut down now. Their spirit is closed off. You driving and you get the right of way. You make that right even though your mind tells you to slow down. You're going to be dead right now. There's no point. So I think that's where the empathy comes in.
Yeah.
Where I see you, you're not right, but I'm going to allow you to hear this in a way that you're going to receive it. And I can almost guarantee 100% of the time, usually when I've pulled myself back and been like, how can I say this to this person that pulls on their heartstrings?
Yeah.
It usually works. Or if it doesn't work, I'm able to remove myself comfortably versus than getting upset. Like, have you ever been in a situation, especially with women and men, where you know you're right and you've exhausted yourself trying to explain it because you can help that person.
Right.
And they're like, but I still feel like the sky is blue sometimes. And you're but it's definitely not right now.
Very frustrating.
It's exhausting.
Yes, very, very
It's
draining.
exhausting.
It's everything. So you got to just learn how to like,
Let them.
yeah, pull back. Sometimes go to your own little world in your own head,
Or remove yourself.
and then remove yourself.
I was just telling somebody about dating. People think that if you're dating somebody, if things aren't detrimental and bad, then it's okay. And I'm like, so what if you're dating somebody and you just don't like them? You can walk away and just be like, I just don't like you. Nothing bad happens. You didn't cuss him out.
Yeah.
But I feel like humans, we just think, well, like, I mean, he didn't put his hands on me. So you're just healthy and happy right now?
Yeah.
Just because it didn't break you or it's not to the tip of the iceberg doesn't mean that you should still release it's unhealthy. And so I was talking to a guy before and I'm like, I just don't think we're compatible. I don't like you. And he's like, but what did I do? Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing is bad about not being compatible. And I think people think whether it's a job, whether it's a car, whether it's a guy or a girl in y'all situations, just because we're not compatible or it's not fitting to your situation doesn't mean you're bad. If you go right now and get a Corvette, is it compatible to your lifestyle with 6 kids?
Yeah. I just drive it some other time.
If you don't have the money to get 2 cars and you have a Corvette.
Okay, yeah.
So
no, I get what you're saying though, but yeah,
exactly.
it wouldn't make sense because of how active and how it wouldn't make sense.
But is anything wrong with the Corvette?
No, nothing's wrong
Is
with
anything wrong with you?
No. I'm just making the sound decision to,
But how many times do you want on a date with somebody when you're like, oh, we're not compatible? Well, what did I do? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why you don't like me? And you're just like, wait, nothing's wrong.
Yeah, you got to be okay with saying, you cool, I like you, but better off. That's one thing I say when people be like, oh, what are you looking for? Or, like, listen, if I find the love of my life, great. If I find a friend, great. If I find a business, somebody that could be in my network business-wise, great. But if I find nothing at all, it's still great.
I think the whole word there is fine. I don't look for anything, so I don't find anything. If things happen, it just...
Well, if it happens. But what I mean by fine, what I mean by that is if I happen to be across from someone and that person is,
I'm not going to be upset if I thought you were pretty and you turned out to be just a
correct
business partner.
Yes.
I understand that 1,000,000,000%. But the rest of the world a lot of times is like, if he's attractive, he should be my boyfriend. Yeah. And there's no in between. And it's like, that's not how things always go. Do you believe that guys and girls can be completely 100% platonic friends?
I love that question.
Me too.
I love the conversation.
That's why I'm like, what time is it? Because at this point, that's one of my favorite questions.
So, yes and no. That's the crazy part. I do believe it because I do have one of my best friends happens to be a female. The thing about me and Jazz, though, like me and her, it's 16 years, 15, 16 years? We ain't never seen each other naked. We ain't never crossed no lines of inappropriate conversations. We ain't nothing crazy has ever happened between us. Have I hugged her and she cried on my shoulder? Yep. But it was because of situations that has happened. But we prayed for one another. We done been around each other's significant other that, when we had one. Nothing, but it's always just been friendship. And she's extremely attractive. So it's not like because some people think you got to be friends with somebody that's ugly or that you're not attracted to. She's very attractive. But we've just always been friends. Now, how often does that occur?
Genuinely.
And
you said a key factor with the time frame. 16 years. What is a friend? Like, you definitely, I agree 100% with that question. But people take the word friend as a default. If you're not this or this, you just get thrown into the friend pile.
Right.
You meet a guy, we're not dating, but I don't dislike him. He's a friend. Yeah. But you said 16 years.
Right.
A real friend takes time, effort, experiences. Yes. So say you meet a girl, not your best friend that you've known that's earned that place. Y'all have earned that in each other's lives. Say you meet a female and she's attractive to you and y'all meet and blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't want to date, whatever happens. Do you think that it would behoove you at your age to go make friends?
With her?
With anybody. Like, out of this, I ask that because I don't really believe in girl guy
No.
friendships at a certain point in your life.
I'd say no.
You're not going to spend 16 years getting to know a girl that you met today.
To me, that would be idiotic.
So if you meet a girl today and she says, I don't really, looking for nothing right now. Can we just be friends? What would your answer be?
My response would be we could be cool. I'd never say friends though, because to me, I've always been like this my entire life though. When it comes to friends, I'm very careful. I feel like you should be careful with when you use the love word. And it's to me, it's equal as friends.
I agree.
Because I don't put when people, oh, yeah, this is my friend such and such, I will come right behind like, oh yeah, that's my homie. Oh yeah, we cool. Oh, that's my dude. Friend though, I don't consider everybody a friend.
What's a friend?
Family.
What makes all your family your friends?
No, I'm just saying, like, so my friends, they are my family.
So you mean the fact that they've earned that position as a family member, not necessarily because we're
100%.
blood, we're friends.
Correct.
So what's like 5 things that make a person friend or family that sets them apart than just we're cool?
5 things.
It can be something.
I would say the relationship.
And the reason why I asked this, is because, like you said, for your listeners, I don't do podcasts or anything like that. People really genuinely don't know this.
Oh, yeah. So it's real surface. People is basically what you're saying. A lot of my friends came by way of either sports, and those that came through life have come through by way of some type of relatability, and just time, conversation, either whether we like the same type things or not, but we were always in the same vein of something. Our alignment was always the same. It was never anything different. I don't know. I think it is a sticky or a weird way of trying to explain how it happens. It just kind of happens.
But what sets them apart? So say
trust. Trust. I hate saying loyalty, but loyalty. I feel like that's loosely used today. But trust, loyalty, dependability.
Ain't it crazy? Like, you love your friends so much, but when you have to try to say these things, it's like people don't really get. Yeah. There's a whole lot that goes into a friend.
Yes, it is.
Transparency. That.
Yeah.
I think a big thing with friends to me, I was trying to cut you off. I was trying to give you some thoughts.
Yep.
Is sacrifice. Like, people do not sacrifice for others. If it's not going to benefit me, then.
Right.
And I've had some friends, I'm like, you are gaining nothing from this besides helping me or my family out, that make my friends more than just, oh, his name is Joe on the street.
Yeah. Selflessness is really, really big. Being able to count on them.
You know what's crazy? There's a book called, I think I told you this before, How to Avoid Falling in Love with a Jerk. And you literally listed things that, like, if you have, what's it called in the car where it's like your bass, your treble, all that stuff, how that works together. You can like turn it up and down, make it all either match or whatever. Yeah. And so it's something in the book that talks about, how to avoid falling in love with a jerk, and not always just love, like relationships, but it literally listed those things that if you can do all these 5 things without skipping one and jumping to one, with physical being last, like with your friend that you said has cried on your shoulder, was that the first day y'all met?
No.
So it got to a point where, can I get to know you first and foremost?
Right.
Then can I trust you? So that I trust you don't mean I can depend on you. Then I can depend on you. Then I can commit to you. And now, whatever happens physically is almost like whatever just happens. Right. And I feel like with friends, we don't even check all those boxes before. Like, that's my homegirl. Why? Yeah. Did you ever keep to your house when you were gone for 7 months? Probably not. Then that's not probably your friend. Like, things like that. And I think that a lot of people don't really understand, if you take that approach with everything in your life, food, people, relationships, friends, you can't go wrong if you're balanced, like the car thing. And your music sounds amazing when you have it all balanced good. And you might do it, and one day it sounds okay, but then you realize, like, that bass is a little bit too much for this song or whatever. And you change it and kind of adjust it. But then you find that good one where it goes with your jazz, your country, your hip hop, and you good. Now your car's running, you can listen to your music.
Yeah. Nah, I agree.
I don't care if you didn't agree. Sorry, I just had to have a moment because sometimes I'll be mad because you. So I just wanted you to be like, I don't care if you agree or not. It's my thought process. I'm just kidding, though. I appreciate that you agree. It's good. I mean, you got good friends.
I do. And the thing is, like, I've always, like, obviously with my kids, I always share with them, like, I told my 18-year-old was my oldest.
Jesus Christ.
And I said,
18.
from the moment that you could remember who was around me, I said, it's all the same people that has always been around me. And she was like, you're right. You've always had the same friends, like my entire life up until now. I said, there's been a couple additions, but not like, oh, you get 10, 15 new ones. Like, no, just a few ones. A few have entered into the fold, which means that they're in alignment and they're similar, right? They have their own differences as individuals, but they're similar. But these people match, you know what I mean? Like who I am, they're in alignment with who I am. So you don't see. So it's one thing that I told her to encourage her to seek out people like that, because I feel like, in my opinion, that that's a lot harder for women to do than it is men.
Why?
Men, you typically find like the same, you know, like we've been cool for 20 years, 30 years, you know what I mean? With no breaks. Some women that have said, oh yeah, we've known each other for 30 years. Known or been friends for like, you know what I mean? And not just, I feel like later in life women can, but like early in age, like how many circles, like Sio circle, they're like, like a lot of them have been together for a long time, you know what I mean? But it's not often you find a lot of circles. I know you have, but you don't find that often at all.
What do you think that is?
I don't know. We're just built different. You guys are wired a lot more funky than we are too. Emotions, feelings. You guys like feelings. We all have feelings. That doesn't make them law, right? But women's approach sometimes is like, okay, my feelings are law. Like this is what it is, and this is like, nah. Like sometimes you just got to take a step back, especially when you're acting out of like emotions and all of that. You just got to take a back seat to that. And, you know, and pride, in my opinion, again, I feel like women's pride and ego is a whole lot bigger than men's.
I know you lying.
That's just my opinion.
Ego maybe, pride not so much. But
Yeah.
I think it's just a lot more surface for men, which isn't a bad thing. Like you said, we're wired differently. So when you said, I think you said, men will be like, yo, we've been cool for 30 years. A lot of times with men, you don't go to these friends 30 years in a row talking about the most serious things. We enjoy our company. We play basketball. We hang out. We can talk very surface because that's how, you know, men can be sometimes. Where women, when they have friendships, it's a lot of times very emotional, very serious. Like you got the friends that are like, yeah, my mom got cancer. My dad, my husband did that. Where sometimes guys was like, I'm having a rough day. You want to grab a drink? Cool. Y'all talk about the thing y'all talk about the actual situation at hand one time. No, just the presence. No, I'm just saying sometimes that's okay.
But see, are women like this, right? Are women like this just with their friends or in general?
In general. But that's why when you said I think then. Well, you said sometimes like guys will be like, oh, we've been cool for 30 years, where women might say, you know, oh yeah, we know each other for 30 years, because they are like that with most people. So sometimes that genuineness.
Genuineness.
It's not as genuine because you just want to be heard and talked about, right. So you don't make sure that person is the person that needs to hear all that. Where I think guys, after you having that beer, you might be like, so you want to hear something crazy? Talk about it, move on. And like you really feel like you got it out, where a woman is sometimes looking for any outlet. It can be a stranger. Like we go to the bathroom. You know how girls are, we go to the bathroom with a best friend.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. I think that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, it is.
That's a whole different podcast.
It is. But the platonic thing, though.
Yes. Do you have sex with your friends?
No. Why would I have sex with my friends?
Because how many people say they're friends and you find out that they've had sex?
A buttload of them. Friends.
Like,
friends,
oh no, me and him were just friends.
That's my brother. All right, we like family. It's like, oh, okay. And I think, so it's another thing I taught my daughter too, right? Like, So women can friend zone the man, and the man will stay there. Men play the long game. Women don't, because women can't handle being in that friend zone for that long period of time.
Absolutely.
So it's easy for a woman to say, "Oh, that's just my friend," but that's not his mindset, though. That's not his thinking. That's not what he's good. Like, you really can't say, "Oh, that's my friend," because he ain't thinking that. And that's why when we come along as guys and we're interested in this party, it's kind of just like, is he really your friend, or is he waiting for his opportunity? 9 times out of 10, he's waiting for his opportunity.
But what did we say about how females view friends? Sometimes they desire certain things, and instead of being able to say, you know what, you're a man that I've had sex with and I'm interested in, you're not a friend, they want to try to make you into their friend. Or going back to like when women desire to be wanted and end up having sex or doing something that they didn't necessarily want to do, but they wanted the desire of it. So I've heard plenty of my patients tell me it was just a friend of mine. So you had sex with a friend of yours. And he probably wasn't having sex with only just you because you're just a friend. So y'all ain't dating or exclusive. But the reason why they're still friends is because she desired to be wanted. She desired to want to be more. So women a lot of times label whatever is not husband or stranger as a friend.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of times it's just not that you're a real friend or not a friend. Like you said, with women, not that they don't want to be in that zone for a long time. They can't, but what other title can they give it? If a female is saying, I want to be with you, I'm not ready right now, what's she going to call you?
Friend or buddy.
I think that the world needs to define friendships and buddies a whole lot better.
Yes.
Because I've been in situations where I'm like,
or brother.
That's your friend? Yeah, we only had sex like a year ago. What?
Yeah.
It's not a friend.
Yes, that's my best friend. And we tried it, but you know.
Well, wait a minute. So do you feel like if you have sex with someone, you can never be their friend? Or how you go about that situation? Because that's a good point too. I feel like, say you and Ariana had sex a year ago. Maybe it was, y'all went on a date. The date was great. Went on a second date. Something happened. One thing led to another. Whatever. Y'all had sex. Y'all genuinely got to liking each other and genuinely broke up and was like, I don't like this situation. It's just not for me. Sex happened a little bit before it should have, right? Happened too soon. You got to know this person. You genuinely like them as a person, as a friend, but you know that the sex happened too fast. You don't dislike them. So are y'all doomed that y'all can't be friends ever again?
I think it's situational. I believe in some cases, yes. In most cases, no.
What will be the requirement?
Boundaries.
You might know a little something.
Yeah. It has to be boundaries. And sometimes these are boundaries that don't even have to be discussed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes they will, but I think it depends on the approach that the person has. Like if you have a respect for the individual, 9 times out of 10, the boundaries won't have to be discussed. And y'all can move on and be friends and be perfectly fine the rest of y'all life.
Right.
But there are a lot of cases in which sometimes a button may try to be pressed and it's like, hey, big dog, not right now. Can't do it. Not ever. Again, you know, especially when it comes to bringing somebody else into the situation. I'm with somebody, you know, you with somebody. So, you know, certain talks, certain advances, you can't be doing that. You know what I mean? So I think it's situational. Most of the situations, again, no.
No.
Is it impossible? Is it impossible? It's not impossible. It is very much so possible. Just comes down to the individual's maturity level. Again, boundaries.
Boundaries are so amazing to have. Boundaries make you fall in love with yourself. Because it might be awkward at first, and it's like, you know, a lot of times with women, men not so much. Your friend call you, you busy? No, I'm just kind of hanging out at the house, relaxing. You want to go grab a drink, grab dinner? You know you don't want to. You're tired. But the person in you is like, you know, sure, I'll go do it. Versus making that boundary and saying, actually, today I don't. Can we do it tomorrow? You feel so much better getting the best of both worlds. You please them, you please yourself. But I said to say boundaries are just really amazing.
Now, you said men not so much. You're saying we don't do that?
I say that I don't feel like what I've experienced with men fall victim to peer pressure as much when it comes to like, hey, man, you want to go to the gym? Nah, brush off work, I'm tired. Versus a woman might be like, myself, I can say myself.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, I'll go for an hour with you, even though I know I'm tired and I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I've experienced a lot of even my guy friends help me with that. No, I don't want to. Oh, well, dang. With that boundary and you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't agree? Or you do?
I'm partial. I think it goes both. I think, again, it comes down to just individuality.
Yeah, I can see that too. Because I've seen guys do that too.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
We ain't going to the club. Nah, what are we? My homeboy just asked me to come out and I'm just here.
Oh, no, I'm one of those. Like, all of my people know that for some of my guys that do step out, even if it ain't even got to be no club. Cause they don't
Right.
Be like, or even if we're together already, it's like, oh, yeah, we about to go to the joint. It's like usually an automatic. All right, Dre, we catch you later. Because we know you ain't going. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things. Or it's hey, you coming? No.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
I'll holler at y'all.
I have a very hard time with that. A very hard time with that. Especially being a protector. I have a very hard time with making those boundaries. Like even with my family, older adults, my dad, I don't want you to go there. Well, I'm going to go anyway. So now I feel obligated to go take care of you. So I have a hard time with that sometimes, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I'll help you.
I'm not going to have no friends, no family. My only friend going to be Dre. That tells me no all the time.
I'll help you with that. No. There's power in the word no. My uncle taught me, he said, you will learn real quick. There's power in the word no. Whether they gonna hate you or love you anyways, so
right.
You might as well say it and stick with it and keep it pushing.
And it builds respect. When you say no, it builds respect. That's why I want a whole bunch of women to understand. When you say no, you gain so much respect from people, especially men.
Yeah.
Even though women sometimes will say, I didn't want to tell him no. He was really nice that night and da-da-da. But I guarantee you that if you tell him no and stick on that, he'll have more respect. He may not be happy at them very moments, but he'll have more respect for you. He'll probably apologize. But so many women, we just weren't taught that, nor do we feel comfortable saying no.
Yeah. And no guy likes sympathy sex either. That's just terrible. Granted, there's a lot of guys that don't pay attention to that.
Right.
They just want
sex.
Yeah. They just want the sex. But for those of us who get some sense, it's like you can sense that and it's like, no, I'm good.
Right.
No pity sex. I'm straight.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot to think that way.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. Just to get in there and enjoy the feeling and possibly never hear from the chick ever again.
Or just lose. Like, you lose genuine people sometimes doing that.
Yeah.
Because that sex came before the trust and the commitment and the dependability. Whereas women out here and men that are amazing people but never got that far because sex happened, it was a bad day, now everybody's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then they're like, dang, that was a good person. Or they find out with somebody else, like, I didn't even know that you didn't get to know her.
That happens all the time.
Even when it comes to like dating or just when you're younger and you realize that I didn't always know these kind of things. So who I dated at, whatever age, dang, that was a good person. But at that time, we didn't really know how to evaluate that or to prioritize that. And situations like that happen with, friends that used to do whatever. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes we neglect that, not knowing how much that word no, or not knowing how much that priority of making sure everything is balanced first really works out.
And being mature enough to know when to walk away from something. Because I don't care how horny you are. Well, I'm going to speak for me. I don't care how horny I may possibly get. But if I hear certain things, see something, like, it's just automatic. Yeah, I'm good. You know what I mean? And just categorizing people properly. And it really doesn't take, like, getting to know somebody can take time depending on what your intentions are. But there should be a certain level of getting to know somebody that you can get to in a very short amount of time to know where you're going to go with this individual.
Very, very true.
So if you're very intentional on, well, number one, making your intentions known up front to see if someone's even in the same arena as you, number one, and then to see if y'all need to be playing a game together, whatever that game may be. You can get there a lot faster, get to where you want to go a whole lot faster by doing that. And if getting where you need to go is getting up out of the building, then so be it.
Absolutely. I had a friend and he was dating somebody and I was like, so you're telling me after 3 years, there was never any inclination that this person wasn't for you? And it wasn't until 3 years later we sat and talked about it and he's like, there were things that I saw, like you said, very quickly. You don't need to get to know that person like you know their whole entire life story, but certain things you know are not okay. You're not attracted to lying, cheating, stealing. Even though it might not be serious, if they was willing to steal some candy at Walmart, that's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point you should have said to yourself, if they're willing to steal that, I probably want to get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
But we just, oh, it was just some candy at Walmart.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
3 years in, and you just now,
Mm-hmm.
she cheated on you. That was at Walmart too. I ain't lying.
No,
Love you, T.
No, that shit.
I ain't lying.
That was at Walmart.
It showed itself at Walmart, right?
Nah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah.
Because women hide that Walmart bag a lot better than men do. Just saying.
I hadn't seen it all. I don't know. No comment. I don't carry a purse.
It's joking.
But anywho.
This has been a very good conversation. We're going to get up out of here.
You know what I don't understand about podcasts? And maybe I'm just learning because of y'all situation. Like, I never was interested in listening to people talk.
No?
No, so when you said it was a good conversation just now,
Yeah.
in my head, nobody cared. In my head, if this was never seen by anybody else, we sat here and we talked, but I never really understood. And maybe there's a whole realm of people out there that's just, I'm under a rock, that like to listen to podcasts. And
Yes.
I'm learning.
There's a lot of people. Like, podcasts is like, I don't want to say it's new, but like going into like, I don't know, 2017, like is when like they had been out, but that's when they started like kind of like picking up steam. And definitely once the pandemic had happened, a buttload of people. So although there's a lot of podcasts, it's still not an overly saturated space. But there's a whole lot more people listening to podcasts now than there ever has been before. It's just like, you might as well say the new radio in a way. That's why people are getting paid the way they're getting paid for some podcasts.
Well, if y'all didn't enjoy this, it's okay. And you can be honest. Because, I mean, I wouldn't sit and listen to me talk for 2 hours. I talk a lot. I would be like, well.
But it's a good conversation. It's a good flow. It's very informative. We learned some stuff about you, about life, about me. And I'm always talking about Chocolate City.
We know.
So
I don't know if I'm considered a friend, but we've known each other for a long time, and I know. I know. Would you consider me a friend?
No, yes, I would. Yes, that's what. But, and here's the thing: like, I'm 38, so there's 8 years between us. But there's not a lot of people that I deem. Let me not sound worthy.
Wow.
I'm gonna just say that just because, but I feel like everyone should feel like that about themselves in their circles, right?
Absolutely.
Like, deem worthy about being close to in the circle, in my, you know what I mean? But I would say even at a young age, the Joker was like super mature, you know what I mean, for age. So that always plays. So being 30 years old, I don't, you know. So yes.
Let you blast.
Yes, I consider you.
I'm just saying, you said you could trust me, you could depend on me. All the things that you considered a friend, I need $200. I'm just playing.
I got you.
I'm just playing.
$200.
I'm just kidding.
Caylin, you need to give her $200 before we leave. You see, you came to me as a friend, and I just went to my other friend.
We're all friends then.
Yeah.
Right. You just wait in your car. I'll be right out. Yes.
We appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to us. Hopefully y'all have gathered something. Listen, we are on a new platform as well as, you know, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. We are also on 40 Extreme TV, which is a new streaming platform that has hit the waves. So be sure to go and subscribe. We'll be having new content out specifically for 40 Extreme TV coming soon. So make sure y'all go ahead, download that app, and subscribe. You got anything you want to leave with the people?
You remembered a whole lot. Like, I wouldn't have remembered anything about all that stuff. I'd be like, thanks for watching. God bless. If ever coming.
See, but you're learning, though.
That was a lot to say. 40 Express.
Extreme. 40 Express. 40 Extreme TV.
See how fast I forgot? I mixed Pineapple Express and like Pornhub together. It wasn't supposed to be that. I'm sorry, y'all.
The more you do this, the more you get used to it, the more it just get, anyways, whatever. Hey, till next time, play the moments, positive memories, stop the pain, keep the happiness on repeat. Peace.
Mental health.